Yo, welcome back again to my channel. I've got a lovely video for you today. Today's menu, I've got the ultimate, the boss of all rice, Ghanaian Jollof Rice. If you're ready, let's go. Before we start prepping our stew, I've got some nice goat cubes here. You dice up smaller with the bones and everything. I like it like that. For this amount of goat, I'm gonna need 2 medium-sized onions. I got a generous amount of ginger, 4 garlic cloves, 1 Maggi cube, 1 teaspoon of curry powder, half a teaspoon of salt, and half a teaspoon of thyme. And then I've also got 1 bay leaf, and that's gonna marinate this goat. We're gonna do it for about 12 hours. And then we're gonna cook them in a pressure cooker because goats tend to be a bit tougher, so the pressure cooker makes it a little bit softer for us. So we'll see you on the next one. Okay, then we're gonna start prepping our ingredients. So I'm just gonna dice up my onions into smaller cubes, just to help my blender blend through faster. And I put a little bit of water as well, just to help it, because I've got a blender that tends to play up a bit. So onions inside, ginger, and then we do the other onions. Mind you, for our jollof stew, we're going to be using 6 onions. So that's the 2 going in now, and then we're going to do the other 4 in the stew. And then we're going to still use a little bit of ginger as well for our stew, because the meat is going to tend to sort of take up most of the seasoning. To that. So now we've got our goats transferred into a much larger bowl, because I'm going to leave this in the fridge overnight, and simply put my bay leaf somewhere in the middle here, just break it up a bit. I got my Maggi cube going in as well. It tends to be a bit tougher sometimes, but with a little squeeze, you should be able to crack that. I got my thyme, and then the salt and curry powder all going in. Nothing gets left behind. And then the blended mixture. This is the magic. Oh, the magic. And remember the motto: nobody gets left behind. Everybody goes to the party. And then we're gonna mix this up. Mix it up nicely, leave it in the fridge 12 hours max or more, depending on the time you have or the day. If you don't have the time to leave it in the fridge for overnight, you can just go straight to it like this and then cook it. If you haven't got a pressure cooker, I'm afraid you're gonna have to cook this a bit longer, usually about 45 minutes to an hour sometimes on high heat. But because I've got a pressure cooker, it should take me 15-20 minutes. Make sure I massage it. Everyone gets a taste of that spice. We're just going to transfer it all like this, straight into the pressure cooker. So now it's all mixed up. Okay, lovely people, so for our jollof stew, all we need is 1 of tomato puree. I'm going to be using 5 fresh tomatoes, 1 large bell pepper for extra sweetness, 2 scotch bonnets, 1 large one and a little one, that should be fine, enough heat for me, 4 medium-sized onions, 2 carrots, 4 cloves of garlic, 1 nice piece of ginger. And then for my dry ingredients, I've got the ultimate, the Maggi cube, as usual. I've got some thyme, I've got some black pepper, white pepper, all-purpose seasoning because it's got some celery and onion spice in there, which is quite nice. A bit of paprika, some turmeric, bay leaves, a pinch of ginger, curry, and that should be it. Okay, so before we start prepping our ingredients for the stew, we're gonna pause for a minute and then work on our meat because I need the stock from the meat in order to complete the stew. Okay then, so our meat has been in the fridge overnight, 12 hours or more I think, and look at that, it's well incorporated. Spices have done their work. I don't know who won the spice battle, but we'll find out at the end. So basically we're going to transfer all of this into our pressure cooker. If you don't have a pressure cooker, you can just use a normal saucepan, a little bit of water, and then just cook. But because it's goat's meat, it's a bit tough, so it might take a little bit longer to cook, whereas in a pressure cooker, you know, 15-20 minutes and you're good. Okay, so our meat is now been transferred over, and then the remaining of the spices in there, I've just added a bit of water to help the pressure cooker. That way it doesn't get stuck at the bottom. I doubt it, but normally a little bit of water helps it. Okay then, so while our meat is on the pressure cooker, we're gonna start prepping our onions and other stuff for blending. First I'm gonna blend just the onions. I put a little bit of water in the blender to help it a little bit as usual. Just gonna only blend 3 of them, and then I'll leave the large one for the actual stew itself. I got my ginger. Okay, our onions and garlic and ginger being chopped up. Now to our chili. And then we blend these. Okay, our onions is now blended up nicely. We're just going to transfer that into our famous smiley moody face. Then we're just gonna go on to the next phase, which is our tomatoes. Just gonna blend it this time with the seeds, everything goes in. Okay, our tomatoes is done. Just gonna pour that into a bowl again. Cover this up with some cling film and put it in the microwave for about 8 minutes, just to lose some of that water content. Again, doing this gives your stew a different taste and also nice thickening. So while we do that, we're just gonna prep our onion.
No motor, no car, huh? Let's walk, let's talk. Go! Me, I know be trash, I know be baller. We overnight at the 10 baller. We thank God now we chop proper. Now my papa inside talker. All my people them go prosper. See girl with the hood posture. I done a whole lot. I done got a whole lot. See way, see big go be. You know go find them Nemo way. Make your back a ricochet. All the places we go there. All the places that we go there. Break it down now, see Tobe. The way I like them, see body. All the places we go there. This money, it's making sense. I said pretty mommy, go bring your friends. This money, it's making sense. I said pretty mommy, go and bring your friends.
Okay, it's been 20 minutes now. Let the pressure cooker cool down a bit. Magic. Okay, so maybe about 5 minutes or so, it's cooled down a bit. Voila! what we're simply gonna do, as you can see it now, we've got a lot of stock which we need for our stew. So we're just gonna transfer this nicely soft goat into another bowl. I'm gonna be using the same saucepan to do my stew because I'm doing a huge batch. Because I've got a few Nigerian friends coming over. I've got hot oil in a pan ready to go. For jollof rice you need a good reasonable amount of oil, not too much, try not to go overboard. And the traditional way of doing this is to fry the meat, just to brown it.
Let's walk, let's talk. Go! Me, I know be trash, I know be baller. We overnight at the 10 baller. We thank God now we chop proper. Now my papa inside.
Yeah, this is the traditional way of doing it, but I'm not going to fry everything. I'm just going to put half of it in a grill. And the whole purpose of frying the meat is so the goat can get very infused in the oil, and that gives it extra flavor. That's the whole point. Okay, so we're gonna use the same oil. We're just gonna add our onions. And the wooden spoon comes out. And if you ever grew up in Africa, you know all about the wooden spoon. Okay. Once that goes in, turn the fire down a little bit. To that I'm gonna add my bay leaves, and all my spices goes in. And last one, the Maggi cube. I usually like spicing the stew from the beginning, so it stays all the way throughout. Okay. And then to that, tomato puree. Don't be afraid, it's gonna come out nice. Yeah, just the whole tub. Okay, after a few minutes, we're gonna add in our blended onion, chili, everything inside. And then let that mix it all up. And let that simmer for a bit. And we'll leave that, and then we'll put our blended tomato in the microwave for about 8 minutes for reduction. This has already got some spice on it already. Just gonna add a pinch of salt and then just toss that. Got the bones on it, I like it, and then just put that in the baking tray, and then we're just gonna grill it a bit just to make it a bit crispy. Okay, after a few minutes, our stew is coming along nicely, and to that we're going to add our stock that we drained from the meat. Everything inside, and let that cook for another 5 minutes. And after 10 minutes or so, tomato is out of the microwave now. You can see it, we've lost a lot of water out of it. It's just pure tomato now. And then to that, we're just going to add that to it. And then stir that, mix it all up. We've already cooked our tomato for 12 minutes already, or not 8 minutes, sorry, already. Just turn the heat down a bit. So we're gonna cook this for another 10 minutes. So after 25 minutes or so, our stew is now ready. As you can see, everything is well nice. So for this amount of stew, I've actually taken some out to leave on the side because I like a little bit of stew on the side of my jollof rice. So with this amount, I've got 2 cups of basmati rice here, washed up. You can either do it washed up or put it in dry. And you know, you gotta respect jollof rice because it's such a long process. So when you're doing it, make sure you do it right by getting this type of rice here. AAA Green Dragon is the best. Anything with AAA, it'll complement your jollof rice very nice. So I'm predicting 2 cups, but we'll see once it goes in. Let's see if we need more. If we need more, then we're gonna add some more. If not, then we'll just leave it at 2 cups or maybe 2.5. All you do is goes in, give it a little stir. So there's still a lot of stew on top of it, so I think another 1/2 cup rice should do the trick for me. There you go, another 1/2 cup with some water on it, it don't matter. Now remember, in the beginning we only put a little bit of salt in it, so now that we've put some rice and a little bit of water, we're gonna need some more salt. So this is just how I like it. Yeah. So I'm predicting another half a teaspoon of salt, maybe more, but I try to cut down on salt these days, so I don't need a little bit of black pepper. And then we'll just mix it. Once we finish mixing, we're gonna turn the heat down to, I've got it on 4 at the minute I believe, so I'm gonna flick it down to 3. I think I'll need 1/2 cup of water. Just about this amount, same as the rice cup. Yeah, I think that's perfect. And then we're just gonna leave it on low heat and let that cook. So it's been about 10 minutes now on slow cook. Note at this stage I'm not going to use the wooden spoon, because at this stage if you use the wooden spoon you might get it a bit mushy. You don't want mushy jollof rice. You want it in single grains and a little bit sticky. So a fork or something a little bit skinnier, it's not going to mesh it all up together, will definitely be needed. So I won't be putting the wooden spoon in until I'm about to put the carrot, which is at the last stage, for the last 10 minutes. And all you do is just simply stir it. And then once you have it like that, then you gotta do the old school technique, which is using the foil to cover it all up. Purpose of this is you want the steam to cook your rice, so everything's trapped inside. So notice it's been another 10 minutes, and look at that, it's coming up nicely. We're just gonna stir it one more time. Yeah, look at that, beautiful, beautiful color. predicting maybe another 15 minutes, and then you add your carrots. At this stage you can put your meat inside if you prefer it. Today I'm not gonna put it, I'm just gonna put it on the side. So just another 10 minutes and we are good. Make sure you do it right. So it's been a couple of minutes, I think about 5 minutes or so. I'm just gonna add my carrots to it. Just a little bit of carrot, not too much for me. Then we stir it again for another. Shouldn't take the carrot long to, you know. Remember, jollof rice takes a bit of time, and you have to be patient with it. So if you haven't got time, don't attempt it. When you decide to take on this challenge, make sure you do it right. So 15 minutes is up. Now I can put my wooden spoon. As you can see, it's all done. Look at that. Beautiful. See, it's a bit sticky, which is nice. The carrot is soft enough. I left a little bit of meat in there just to enhance it, flavor a bit. So that is the almighty jollof rice at its finest. Our goat is now out of the oven, and if you got a little bit of suya powder, you know, you can just put that a little bit on top and you can have it on the side. Okay, a little bit of suya pepper. You can get this from African shop, and you know, a little bit of that. And that's that. Ghanaian jollof rice, a little bit of vegetables on the side, some plantain. If you've not seen my recipe for the plantain, check out the one with the tilapia and you see that. And I've got my goat meat on the side. And like they say in France, bon appetit. So there you have it, Ghanaian jollof rice. Okay, you have to put some respect on it because it takes long, you know, about 2 hours it took me to prepare that, but just compress that into a short video for you to enjoy. Make sure you try it. If you do try it, make sure you tag me in your videos. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, and if there's any dish that you want me to make sure you leave that in the comment below. And again, if you're feeling the merchandise, sponsored by Habiton Ltd, that way. See you on the next one. Peace.